This Florida marathon runner has gone viral because her boyfriend ate all of her snacks. She needed those to maintain her energy during the 26-mile race.
I don't have any. What
the wake up!
I know.
You better start running yourself, fella, and just keep going. The strangest things amuse me. On occasion, Fark.com will share a link from an Arizona publication, and it's nothing but a rundown of health department violations, and these two caught my eye. We go first to Curry Corner in Tempe. It says here, employee water bottle and ice bin. Cooked goat and chicken not held at proper temperature. Windex spray bottle hanging over prep table. And here's the kicker. Live pigeon flew into kitchen from back door. Well, it gets hot there. You gotta have a little breeze coming through. Meanwhile, at Hashi in Scottsdale, no person in charge of seafood department. Employee handling raw fish, then not washing hands. Several dead fish in display tank. Yeah, you ever been to Red Lobster? They have the lobster tank. Well, they had their own display tank, and they didn't notice that several of their offerings had died. Anyway, maybe that's just the sort of thing that amuses me and no one else. Gone viral, I'm calling BS on this one. A family lit what they thought were birthday candles, but it turns out they were fireworks. I guarantee you they did that for clicks. There's no way you can confuse fireworks with candles unless you are the biggest idiot on the planet. Well, it worked because they've been viewed by the millions. Corinth, Maine, Rob Russell runs a drone service, and a lot of his clients are searching for missing dogs or even in some cases missing people. Someone shot one of his drones out of the sky the other day.
It both violates Maine statutes, but it's also a federal offense. So it is actually the same charge as shooting at or striking a plane full of people as a commercial drone. I can't use it, and it's going to be out of my use for a long time, and that affects what I do.
So it's the same penalty for dropping a drone as it is for blowing an airplane out of the sky? That seems one should be more serious than the other, I'm just saying. Today's Ohio Proud moment, Zanesville. I've always wondered about this, and I figured it would make a good horror movie. You could call it Route 666. A woman there in Zanesville is trying to get ODOT to rename Ohio Route 666. The state says that would be very hard to do because of maps and stuff like that. Clearwater, Florida, a man was employed as a cameraman for Benson Boone. You know, the guy that does all the backflips. I'd never actually heard his music. I only see pictures of him doing backflips, and he looks like my former colleague Grayson from the radio station. I mean, they're dead ringers for each other. Anyway, Benson Boone, it's such a big tour that he has a camera crew. And one of his cameramen was arrested the other day after walking into a surf shop drunk and then peeing on a bunch of clothing. So maybe that's what I could do. I could be a cameraman on Benson Boone's tour. I promise not to get drunk and pee on stuff. Alexandria, Virginia, the head of a local housing authority, was fired. He took one of the affordable housing units and moved himself in. Billings, Montana, several animal shelter employees needed medical attention after breathing a cloud of meth. Apparently, there's an incinerator, a dog and cat crematorium in this facility, and occasionally the local police will use this furnace to burn up drugs. And so they were burning up a bunch of crystal meth, and the wind changed and blew the smoke back into the building, and a bunch of dogs and people had to be evacuated. Seems like you need to come up with a better plan than that. Calgary, police arrested a 46-year-old for tunneling into his neighbor's apartment. Reading between the lines, it sounds like this guy is a creeper. Police say he went up through his floor and came out in her apartment in a hole he busted open right next to her fireplace. He then messed with a bunch of stuff, locked the door from the inside, and then went back down through the hole. Of course, it was hard to get into the unit with the door locked from the inside, but they eventually did, and that's when they saw that he had messed with a bunch of stuff, and there was the hole, and it was clear who did it, and so now he's in jail. Wawayanda, New York, police arrested a man who was passed by an ambulance. This angered him, and police say he floored it passed the ambulance on its way to an emergency call. He then slowed down and brake checked the ambulance, basically delaying their arrival at the scene. That's why 47-year-old Terrell Osborne has a court date very soon. Manchester, England. Good luck to Dr. Suhail Anjum. He's returned from his native Pakistan and is trying to get his UK medical license renewed. The problem for Dr. Anjum, before he went home to Pakistan for a spell, he was turned in by a nurse who walked in on the doctor having sex with a nurse in an empty operating theater. Also, his tryst occurred when the anesthesiologist Anjum had stepped out of the operating theater for a brief break. He said, "I'll be right back." And he was in like 8 minutes. The procedure was completed without any incident. But he was gone for 8 minutes because he was banging another nurse. It is yet to be seen if he will be issued his privileges again. I'm kind of doubting it. Elsbethen, Austria. This sounds like a movie. The Catholic Church said to be displeased after 3 nuns in their 80s escaped their retirement home and returned to their convent in the Alps. Apparently, the women were helped by former students in their escape from the nursing home. The church sent them there in 2023 without asking them. They just said, "You guys are too old to be nuns. You're out of here." And so now they are back at the convent, and the church is not really sure what to do. Just let them live there. I mean, come on. Finally, Scotland. After 4 years and some sleuthing, a couple has finally figured out who the awkward-looking stranger was in a bunch of their wedding photos. They had posted everywhere on social media in search of this mystery man. And that's when Andrew Hillhouse stepped forward to admit, "It was me." Now, there was nothing nefarious here. It was just a mistake. Mr. Hillhouse said that he showed up for a wedding 4 years ago. And since he knew that he didn't know anyone except for his friend, the bride, it didn't bother him that the people around him were completely unknown to him. That is, until the bride started walking up the aisle and he realized he was in the wrong place. Well, he couldn't leave during the ceremony, so he waited that out, and then he tried to leave, and then he got roped into a bunch of pictures, and then eventually he left, went down the road to the correct wedding, and everyone there thought it was very funny. And that's how he ended up in a bunch of wedding photos with people he didn't know. And, this might be the start of a friendship. You never know. All right, have a great day.